Welcome back to the channel, Unconformed. Welcome to the club. If you are new here, we are a Liverpool fan channel where we talk all things Liverpool. And today, we are going to be talking about Liverpool versus Crystal Palace. Liverpool, they pull it off again. I don't know what you really have to say about Arne Slot and his men. 9 out of 10. And if you're Arne, you're probably thinking, well, 10 out of 10 would have been ideal, right? Like what he said at the beginning of the match. And a hard fought victory. And Arne is instilling something into this team where they keep finding ways to win, even when they are not at their best. And on top of that, getting clean sheets on top of it, right? They're already at 5 clean sheets for the season, which is already the halfway mark of the amount of clean sheets that Liverpool got last season. So the big qualm about Liverpool having that leaky defense and, not having enough cover at the back and Trent wandering into midfield and, a lot of people exploiting, a lot of that has gone away under Arne Slot. And there's different problems that are coming up, and we'll talk about that in a second, that I think Arne will want to address over the next 2 weeks as the international break wears on. But to put it into perspective, this Liverpool team is outmatched pretty much everybody in terms of the defensive category. Even Arsenal, who only have 3 clean sheets this season, who many believe are the perennial best defensive team in the league. But if you look at the stats, it looks like it's Liverpool FC. And I get it. It's the beginning of the season. We're only 10 games in, and, it's not against the best competition. Whatever goalpost moving that you want to do, you can do. But the facts are the facts. Liverpool already have 5 clean sheets. They barely are conceding any goals, right? When they do get scored on. I believe it's only been like 2 or 3 goals that have been scored on them in all competitions. And that's even with Alisson being in and out of the squad, who went down injured today. And I think people got introduced to Yaros pretty quickly and don't understand that we probably have the best goalkeeping core in the world. And I will stand on that. And I truly believe that. Queeveen Callagher is probably a number 1 at any other club that you go to. Alisson Becker, in my personal opinion, he's the best goalkeeper in the world. And Yaros is like one of the best kept secrets in the Liverpool squad for a long time and could be a solid number 2 at any other club or even a number 1 at another club. And I think you guys will get to see that in the next coming weeks. And don't forget, we got Gigi Mamardashvili, who is at Valencia, who is perennial one of the best young goalkeepers in the world right now. You're talking about 4 goalkeepers that all could be number 1s at the clubs that they're at. We're blessed for Liverpool, that's for sure. That's something that I'm not very worried about. It sucks seeing Alisson go down, but we have plenty of cover in that category. So if you are worried, if you're a Liverpool fan about that, don't be. We're going to be all right. And you should know that more than anything from last season, that Queeveen Callagher is more than capable of covering for Alisson. Not 100% sure why he wasn't on the bench today. Could have been like a rotation thing or just give Yaros, some minutes on the bench, I guess. I don't know. But it ended up working out in our favor. But somehow, Liverpool's defense is what they're hanging their hat on this season, which is not what I don't think any of us expected. You let me know in the comments if you expected Liverpool to have the number 1 defense in the league. I know we have VVD, but he looks like he's back in his prime. And Konate looks like he's just reached that next level. And Trent Alexander-Arnold is quietly putting together one of his best defensive seasons that he's had, maybe ever, right? But some of that play in that first half was really, really good, actually. Aside from them being phenomenal defensively in the first 45, which hasn't been the case for Arne Slot's team as of late. We've typically have been really a second half team or a late first half team when adjustments have been made, but we looked great in that first half. Some of the passing sequences, the slick movement, the 1-2 touches around the box. Curtis Jones looked amazing in that number 10 position, which I want to see him perform in more. And I'll talk about the shift that was made at halftime and why I think Crystal Palace got a foothold back into this game because of that change. But credit to Crystal Palace. They fought, and they fought back in that second half, and they made it a much more competitive game, bringing on Mateta and being less conservative. See, Liverpool have a problem. They make teams look better than they actually are. If you look at this game, you look at the Wolves game, you look at the Bournemouth game, the Brentford game, a lot of these lower league or lower table sides, when they get a sniff of the ball or maybe a shot on target or they get a chance against this Liverpool team, it gives the feeling or the illusion that they deserved more in some of these games. And if you actually look at some of the stats, and I'll put some on the screen here, they actually didn't. And specifically this game, Liverpool absolutely dominated this game for large stretches. But I think there's like a narrative or there gets this feeling or the eye test. I don't know what it is that it makes it feel like the other team maybe should have got a draw or maybe should have got 2 points or maybe should have got 3 points out of this and got a win. But if you look back at some of these games that I mentioned specifically, barring the Manchester United game, weirdly, which we dominated 3-0 on paper, well, I guess visually, but on paper, it was a completely different story, right? It's very, very weird. And it's a weird issue that this Liverpool team has right now. And I'm not even sure what to even call it. But that's their issue. And I don't even know if it's a bad thing for Arne Slot because it's weirdly working. But if you guys love Liverpool content and you guys love interesting takes or maybe things that you haven't heard before, join the Unconformed family. That's what this whole channel is about. It's Liverpool takes that are not conformed to the norm. You're not going to hear a lot of the things that you hear on this channel. But anyway, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. And if you are new here, make sure you put where you are watching from in the comments. We are stretching this thing all around the world. We are almost at 3,000 subscribers. So make sure you guys subscribe, hit that notification bell as well so we have more content coming, especially during the international break. We're going to be coming out with some really cool things. But back to the game. Ryan Gravenberch's turn. I'm going to just put that right here, put that on the screen for you guys. Outrageous. Some of the things that Ryan has been able to do in midfield. It looks like Thiago, right? It looks like Paul Pogba, right? And shout out to Paul Pogba for getting reinstated. But it looks like a lot of these, generational talents that we see. And then he might very well be. And I think he kind of coincides with Liverpool and the fan base and where their thoughts are kind of at. Is just like, when is this whole thing going to fall down and collapse on top of itself? When is Ryan Gravenberch going to stop performing and we're going to get back to reality and wake up? When is Liverpool going to stop performing and we finally lose, comprehensively to a top level team? Maybe that thing is never happening. Maybe it's never happening for Ryan. Maybe it's never happening for Liverpool FC. Maybe we're coming into an era where Ryan is our next generational player and Liverpool are back at its dominance. That could be a possibility, but it's positive signs from Ryan Gravenberch for sure. The way that he drops into midfield and carries the ball through midfield, it solves a lot of the issues that Liverpool had last season where we had trouble in that department where we didn't have a ball carrying midfielder or we didn't have a midfielder that could break past multiple lines of defense just in 2 and 3 dribbles and finding opportunities and chances to for other players to set up other players, right? So I think this is everything that we were looking for in a defensive midfielder, everything in Zubimendi that we were looking for, we got in Ryan Gravenberch, and I couldn't be more happier. But VVD is my man of the match, if I didn't mention. I think I mentioned that already. Absolutely was flawless in defense today, despite the tug. But I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about that penalty decision. I think it's a soft one. I think Marguehi was never involved in the play and wasn't going towards the ball or anything like that. And I think it was a bit soft. I mean, people pull and tug and push in that box all of the time. If they were to call every single moment like that, we would have a penalty every time somebody took a free kick. And that's my take on that. But let me know what you guys think. I think the turning point was Maka coming off at halftime, and that didn't really allow Ryan to do the things that he really needed to do or wanted to do in midfield in that second half, which typically he has really strong second halves. And I think it also exposed Curtis Jones a little bit of being a great, I wouldn't say a great 10 just yet, but a good 10 and an average 8. When he moved back into that 8 position to make room for Sabo in the 10, he became pretty much anonymous in that second half when I thought he had a great first half. So if there's anything that I think we learned from today in this performance is that Liverpool need another box-to-box 8 to cover for McAllister so that Jones can play in a position that he's comfortable in, Szoboszlai can do the same thing, and Ryan can keep doing his thing in the number 6, right? And speaking of Szoboszlai, he needs to figure out his gun shyness. It's starting to get a little weird in terms of the fact that he's not really letting rip from distance like that. And I think he's one of the best strikers of the ball. And I think it's a maybe a confidence thing. And from what I understand, I just got a notification on my phone that Alexis McAllister does have a thigh injury, which could be a big problem for us. But thankfully, we have Wataru Endo in our ranks, and he actually looked okay when he came on, put in a big challenge that almost created a chance. So we'll see what happens in these next couple weeks. It's a crucial next couple weeks, and I think some of the things that we thought may pop up and rear its head is rearing its head now, right? With like the injuries of Allison and McAllister and Chiesa. Thankfully, we do have depth in a lot of those departments, but maybe not so much in midfield, where a lot of us thought that FSG and Arne Slot and the gang should have strengthened. But we will see. I think it's time for Tyler Morton to shine. I think it's time for Trey and Yoni to get minutes, right? I think these players are ready to step into those midfield roles as we kind of make our way into the January transfer window where we can get a more senior option. I think that will happen. I think Morton will do a great job. I think Inyoni will do great jobs in there to deputize for Maka. If he's out long term, I'll have to look into that. But that midfield change alone against Crystal Palace made it more competitive for Crystal Palace. And also Crystal Palace obviously being less conservative also helped as well. But Salah was absent today, unfortunately. Didn't really get a sniff of very many things. And Tyreek Mitchell honestly wasn't even that great today. So it was unfortunate that he didn't get any joy on that right-hand side. Probably one of the few games where Salah went absent, but Gakpo played very well. Very silky in possession. Very almost like Ryan Gravenberch in a similar build and things like that. The way that he moves on the ball, but his close control. Someone being that tall should not be that good on the ball. And I think his delivery and passes are from that wing are one of his best assets, and it's very underrated. And he created that goal for Jota today almost out of nothing. And you know I'm a big Ryan Gravenberch, or not Ryan Gravenberch, I am a big Ryan Gravenberch fan, but a Cody Gakpo fan. And I hope that he continues to get a run in on the side. Every time that he gets an opportunity, he plays at a really, really high level. And I think he is that left wing that Liverpool need to lean on. Lucho is a little bit too inconsistent for me. I know he's been on fire lately and has been scoring a lot of goals and things like that. But I like Gakpo in terms of the balance. But if they can figure out the chemistry between Gakpo and Salah and whoever they put in the middle, whether that's Jota or Nunez, we will see. And that is something that I think that we definitely need to address in January as well, is can we get a reliable striker who can put some of these chances that we've had today away, because we had so many. It should have been 4, 5, and 6 goals in that first half. And Jota had a gilt edge chance that just slid off of his boot. And I'm thinking, is there a Victor Gyökeres somewhere around here that's just an animal in the box and gets a half chance and buries it? I think that is the missing piece in this Liverpool side. But you have to ask, will Liverpool continue to get away with this? Is there even anything to get away with, right? I don't know. That's the question that you have to ask. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. But Arne continues to impress. He continues to find ways to win. He has that charisma. He has the bite in him from what I've seen today when he was talking to some of the refs. And he has a really good sense of humor, actually, which is kind of funny. But he does a really good job of putting the ball in the back of the net of other managers' teams and keeping the ball out of the net of his team. And you can't ask for anything more from a Liverpool manager or manager in general. Top of the league going into the international break. 4 points clear for now. We will see how that goes. But I'm excited. I really am. And the state of the Premier League going into the international break makes me even more excited. Arsenal, they're dealing with stuff, a lot of injuries and things like that. They're playing an interesting style of football. Man City, same thing, dealing with injuries, and don't look the side that they were, and we just keep winning. There could be something there. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and tell me what you guys thought. Who was your man of the match? Can Liverpool keep the streak going? Are we fluky? Are we not? I don't know, but I do know that we are top of the league, baby. Up the Reds.